6:30,
Motion.
we'll call the meeting to order.
Voting.
Certify compliance with the open records law.
Yes.
Christie, let's look at that.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Gillis.
Here.
Councilmember Hayden.
Here.
Councilmember Hooker.
Here.
Councilmember Raisler.
Here.
Councilmember Schofield is absent. Councilmember Weisenbeck.
Here. And Councilmember Schofield did contact us. He had a conflict, work-related conflict, and is not able to be here. Next, we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would someone like to make a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved. Second.
We have a motion second to adopt the agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. It's adopted. Next, we have public comments. Is there anybody that would like to make any public comments? The floor is open. Hearing no public comments, and we don't have any scheduled appearances tonight. Next, we'll move on to the consent agenda. The following matters may be acted upon by the city council utilizing a single vote. Individual items which any member wishes to address in greater detail or as a separate item on the regular agenda may be removed from the consent agenda upon the request of any council member. We have the minutes from the regular city council meeting from March 8th, 2023, and a bartender license for Kaylee J. Hagan for the Rooster Tail Bar and Grill. Chief?
Everything is fine.
Okay. Would someone like to make a motion concerning the consent agenda?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion second to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Is approved. Next, we move on to the business agenda, mayor's report. One major thing to talk about I'd like to bring up is, as we know, there's an election coming up here in a few weeks, and we will be reorganizing, of course, all the council committees and also the ones that we have citizen members on. So I'm going to do a little bit of a plea or a request or so and so forth in the next few weeks. We are going to have some openings. We had, of course, we had a couple people, one person who passed away that served on a couple committees. We've had a couple other openings. So we're gonna have openings all the way from housing, park board, and so on. If anybody knows of anybody that lives in the city that would love to serve on these, one of these boards, feel free to pass a name to me, or if you want to contact them. It's a friend, a relative, somebody, a neighbor, somebody you think that would be interested, or if they would like to learn a little bit more about what these committees do, you have somebody who would be interested, feel free to pass their name along. I'd be happy to speak to them, sort of explain which ones we have. So, but again, there will be a few openings. And as I said, you know, most of these committees are based on need. If there's actual specific business that they must take care of. But again, we will go ahead and if there is, we would like to maybe get a few new names. We do get a lot of great people who've served on some of these for a lot of years. For example, we just had a Plan Commission here at 5 o'clock, and there's some wonderful folks on that have served for a number of years and do a great job serving on. And the one thing like the Plan Commission is there's a number of statutory requirements of a Plan Commission. And so obviously we need to go through those things. One other quick mention, it does seem to be that for the two open seats, obviously there's a candidate for one of them. At this point here, we still don't know of anybody nobody is officially registered as a write-in. Which if somebody was interested in the first ward to run as a write-in, you can come to City Hall and do that. The other thing that will happen for that seat, if nobody does run at the time, we'll look at the write-in votes and go from there. And I wasn't sure exactly how that worked because when I was on county board, we had something that came up. But if whoever on that group, of course, if somebody does receive the most amount of votes, we would contact them and see if there's interest. And maybe they're not. Maybe some people just put their name on there. The one thing about it is being a ward only, it's not like it's citywide, being a ward only seat, you know, so it's obviously a limited number of people voting in that ward. But again, we will cross, if there is nobody with the write-ins and no one's interested, and then I think what we would do anytime there's an open seat, we would advertise for anybody interested party and then make an appointment to the council at that point. But that's where we're at. So.
For the citizen seats, could that be posted like online? Like the open seats, like on Facebook saying these are open seats?
Oh, I could, yeah, I mean, that would be, sure.
Just to kind of make it a little bit more public.
Oh, yeah, we can do
Of
that
what seats
beforehand.
are open.
Because generally what we like to do is, whenever terms run out, is like do all the appointments, because, of course, as the folks have been here before, we also do the other appointed positions, and the other, name our official publication, our fire chief, blah, 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 auditor, all that stuff. And, but yeah, so we can put it out there if there is anybody, just have them maybe contact City Hall and get their name, and then if somebody might be interested in serving on one of those, and I can put up where we have, we can put up specifically ones that are gonna be available, so, okay? Any questions concerning that? Okay, that's all I've got. There was nothing moved off the consent agenda. Move on, administrator report, Administrator Rasmussen.
I just have one item as well, and I was thinking about this one. This is kind of addresses some issues that Jenny shared with me on Facebook regarding the Bubba's lot. So basically, that auction came and went. There were no bids at the minimum bid of $40,000, and a lot of discussion on Facebook. I was thinking maybe in the future under my administrator's report I'll have something that corrections I need to make on Facebook posts or something to that effect, but or maybe that's just a regular agenda item for us. But concerning that, again, just as a reminder, the city doesn't have a lot of involvement with that, but it did not sell. I did talk to or communicate with Pam Hansen at the county, and they will have an upcoming administrative meeting to discuss the future of that. A lot of discussions though, and even I did have a few phone calls of $40,000. That seemed like a high price. So just as a reminder, I know I shared with the council at some point that so per state statute, the county had to put basically a minimum bid, or they chose to put a minimum bid of $40,000 on, because what state statute says is you cannot accept a bid in the first offering of an auction of a tax deed property that's for sale that is less than the market price. So basically, they could have put $25,000, but if they would have gotten any bids that were less than 40, they would have had to reject them. So what they opted to do was to put a minimum bid of 40, which obviously makes a lot of sense. So that's just the first time though. So I anticipate what they'll be discussing is probably lowering that price and going out for auction again. Again, I don't know that for a fact, and I'm sure that's what they'll be talking about the administrative meeting, but I would be surprised if that did not happen. But again, this was not something, that obviously the county has to follow state statutes, so that's why it went through as that. So, but other than that, that's all I have, unless there's questions.
Any questions for the administrator? Hearing none, next we'll have discussion, possible action regarding the requested submitted letter submitted by Leona Gruber Revocable Trust, Michael Gruber representative, to split one parcel into 3 lots for her property at the end of Laneville Avenue, parcel 216-005-97001, per the enclosed certified survey map. This particular item went in, as I said, went in front of Plan Commission earlier. And it was, so I'll turn it over and have the city minister explain. He did have a brief for everybody on it, where we're at, and then talk about the action of the Plan Commission. We also do have the representative of the trust here, so if we have any questions, we can ask Mr. Gerber those questions.
So you got, obviously you all have the map and my recommendation that the city go ahead and approve this, and that was ultimately approved by the Plan Commission as well. As noted in my memo, the only concern that I had from the city side of things concerns that existing asphalt driveway on Lot 1 that is used or has been used by the neighbor to the north, and just making sure and talking to Mr. Gruber about if there was any legal concerns that the neighbor has, like easement of any kind, and Mr. Gruber assured me that there are not. And again, frankly, the only issue that I had with that was it would make that lot a little harder to sell. And clearly, from the city standpoint, I think we're in need of residential lots that people will be building on. So that has been addressed, and ultimately, again, the Plan Commission recommended this after city staff recommended as well. And just quick summary. I'm sorry, I'm going to run through just a piece of. Ultimately, what's going to remain then is that Lot 1, which is looking to be sold by the family. That outlot 1, the reason for that, as you can see, the house that's currently occupied by Mrs. Gruber in the town of Durand, right on the line there, is almost pretty close to even being over. So basically what the family was looking to do is to obviously provide a little bit of a buffer and make sure that that house is a little more compliant with the setbacks and things of that nature. And then the other outlet lot that was created behind that existing, or to the back side of that existing lot, is potentially looking to be sold to one of the neighbors in the city as well, or potentially, if that doesn't work out, to keep it with the Gruber family. So again, the outlot 2 would never be looked at as potentially buildable for any purpose. So lot 1, obviously, that's ended with the 0.36 acres, obviously would be I would guess a pretty desirable lot. So ultimately, that's what's happening there. Just taking that one large existing lot, the last lot, basically on Laneville, it's in the city, splitting it out with the outlot 1, outlot 2, and then the lot 1. So if there's any questions, again, Mr. Gruber's here, and
Mike, I don't know if anything you want to add to that. I mean, just what I think you sort of explained it.
Summarized very well. That's exactly what we're trying to do. Yeah, the outlet 1, like you said, to create basically down the future to sell that property of the house, to have that as part of that sale, so that it helps any potential owner not have to fight some sort of battle of whether the house is on the line or not. It also provides a means to the backyard in case of there's a well on that property, so it's easier to not have to ask your neighbor to drive across their lot. So that's really why we're splitting that 30 feet off.
And the other thing, as you had mentioned to the Plan Commission, was that the driveway, again, there's no legal easement for, and obviously the neighbor uses it, and they drive, because it's sort of a U-shaped type thing. But as I said, you mentioned, you spoke to the neighbor, and they realize what you're doing, so
Yep.
just so there's no...
Yep. Tom Sidor's understands what's going on, and he actually rarely used it, to be honest. But the previous owner, Lyle Newberg, is why that's there. He put that in there that way, so when he owned that lot. So.
Yes. Okay, everybody's has it in front. Any questions? And as we said, the certified survey map officially approved by the Plan Commission comes in front of the council here for approval. And then this becomes legally, filed with the county and is legally the new the certified survey map for these lots here. And any other questions? If not, would somebody like to make a motion concerning this request on the certified survey map?
I'll make a motion, we approve the request submitted by the Leona Gruber Revocable Trust to split one parcel into 3 lots on her property at the end of Laneville, parcel 216-00597-001 per enclosed certified survey map.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. It's on the floor for any further discussion. Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Weisenbeck.
Yes.
Councilmember Hooker.
Yes.
Councilmember Hayden.
Yes.
Councilmember Gillis.
Yes.
Councilmember Raisler.
Yes.
All 5 in favor.
Okay. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
And just help Ron get me the, I need to sign it.
It's
So
gonna stop tomorrow.
yeah, stop and drop it off again. Yeah. Okay? Okay, on to public safety, police department, Chief Ridgway?
Yeah, so Zach Phillips officially got hired with the Pierce County Sheriff's Department. He starts on Monday with them, so congratulations to him. Pierce County is going to let him fulfill his 6-month agreement. He won't be around much, but he'll still be able to help us out when he's available. So that agreement is up in June, so we'll have him until June, but like I said, his availability will be pretty limited with training in Pierce County and things, so. And then this week we had a stolen truck from the city here. We had video from Adams Super Service of a looks like a male. Yeah, you can just kind of see a figure. You can't really pick anything out, but it looks like the stature of a male. He was going through some vehicles at Adams Super Service, and then within that time frame was when the truck was stolen from First Avenue here. We did get a tip this morning on where it was. They at some point dropped it off. We suspect overnight, but we haven't been able to verify that. But it was in the parking lot at the golf course, so we recovered that. I processed it today. We still looking for suspects. Chris did a canvass of the area to see if anybody else had any video of the person maybe walking around that same night in different areas. So we're still working on a suspect regarding that, but the truck was recovered and was in drivable condition. Roger, I'm sorry, the victim did not notice any other issues with the vehicle, so. And then I want to thank Sergeant John Shellhorn. I was on vacation for the last week, and he handled everything as well as possible in our department. I came back, he had all the reports reviewed, he was there for the officers when they had questions, so I really want to thank John for running things in my absence. He did a great job. And then also, if you see Sergeant Shellhorn, him and his wife are expecting a baby, so if you see him, you congratulate him on that. And then the mini putt-putt, I don't know if I've talked about this yet, but that went off really well. We didn't have any issues with that. And then I also wanted to just give a shout out to the Tavern League. After our organizational meeting, there were a couple of bar owners that were kind of hanging around here, and they did a really great job. They were communicating about who they were going to line up for sober cabs for that weekend. So obviously the fundraiser is for that event. And we didn't have any issues. We didn't have any OWI arrests that night. We didn't have any issues with the event. It was just another great event run by the Tavern League and our establishment. So nice job to you guys on that. So, but it was just great to hear that they were thinking in advance about who they were going to get lined up for that night. They had it all planned out, and I'm sure it helped. I'm sure it got a lot of people home safely that night. So that was great. A little bit of a training update. Brandon attended the past 2 days a scenario instructor course. Last year he went to instructor development so he could start taking instructor courses. So I sent him to a scenario training instructor course. This will just help him when we do scenarios at the school, things like that. They talk a lot about safety during scenarios, making sure nobody brings live weapons into a scenario situation, things like that. So it's a lot about running safe scenarios. So he went to that 2-day training. And then next week, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, I'm going to be gone to an instructor training on de-escalation. It's a free training that the state puts on. It's unfortunately down in Madison, so I got to spend a few nights down there in a hotel. But it should be good training. I'm looking forward to bringing it back here to kind of incorporate into our training program with new part-timers. I'm scheduled to present at the Pepin recertification training that he holds every fall regarding it, so our officers in the area will have that training, and I think it'll just be a good certificate for me to have and good training for me to have to bring back to our officers as we hire them as well. And then I just wanted to give an update on the part-time stuff. So obviously with losing Zach, we lost Isaac to Mondovi. Got another part-timer that's a finalist in a position as well. So I put an ad out about 2 weeks ago, and we haven't had any apps for it yet. We're still looking for someone that we can sponsor through the summer academy. Obviously, we're gonna need some people around to cover maternity leave type stuff this fall, and so we really need to try to get a part-time staff built up before then. And so I'm working hard on trying to get that filled. I'll be working with the tech college with their class graduates in May, so I don't think there are a lot of options in that class, but I'll work hard on trying to get them here, the few that are there. So that's all I have.
Any questions for the police department? Okay. Anything for the fire department?
I didn't have any.
Okay. Was mentioned for fire department, of course, I think tickets are out, raffle tickets for everybody coming up for the fundraiser and doing that. Anything to report from ambulance?
Just a reminder that the ambulance director position applications are due on Friday.
That's it. Okay, any questions on ambulance? Next, we'll move on to public works utilities. Superintendent Gillis.
Yeah, a couple quick updates. The SCADA system started install on Monday and got it finalized today. Tomorrow we'll be spending a few hours in training, so we are back in.
By the way,
back
since
up.
we're moving along here really well, do you want to bring that up on the screen? Or?
If you want to see it, I sure can.
He showed it to us, the people over on Public Works, and why don't we do that? As long as we have to do that, you can talk a little bit about the system.
You guys want to leave?
You guys.
Want to take a break?
You're on the side of the table, some moment. And what you see is not overly complicated, but it sort of gives you.
Travis quiz, do you remember how long it takes?
Yeah, can you remember?
Okay, so our old system was built over copper phone lines looped together, all going down the sewer plant. We do not have those lines anymore. We switched to a cellular style system. So there's cellular antennas and control panels at all 5 of our locations. The booster the booster station on Off Street, the reservoir just up from that booster station, the filtration plant or the number 3 well by the pool, the number 4 well which is down below the softball field, and then the master at the wastewater treatment plant. All 5 of these sites, or the 4 sites, all talk through the cellular system and report back to the wastewater treatment plant. But in a nutshell, you can see on this screen, now we can log in remotely through our iPads and through my computers. I can log in and see reservoir levels. In the past, the only place you could see that was at the wastewater treatment plant. You had to physically drive down there to see where the levels were at and how they were doing. You had to physically drive down there to turn pumps on and off. Now we can do all of that remotely. So if I'm at the number 4 well house trying to fix some things, I can physically start that up and monitor the wells and the reservoirs from that site, which is beneficial to us. I don't have to have somebody sitting at the sewer plant just waiting for a phone call to start it, stop it, and control levels. Also, some new stuff is we have temperature readings of all of our buildings now, so we can monitor temperature. You can see the current temperatures there on the bottom, and then the low temperature call-outs. The system will call us out. You can see the well number 3 is currently running right now. Well number 3 fills up the water filter, and then shortly here in a few minutes underneath that you'll see high service pump 3. That's the pump that pulls the water out of the filter and puts it out into the water system. So there's a cycle that has to happen there. The water has to get pulled out of the filter faster than you put water in, so that pump kind of starts and stops in the whole process. So you can see the level of the water tower is at 22 feet. The level of the reservoir is at 15.4. Switch screens here. Here's some more controls. The water tower is basically got 28 feet from top to bottom. The high level alarm's around 26 feet. That starts calling us out that the water's hit a high level, which gives us 2 feet of room to kind of figure things out before the water tower starts to overflow and water starts to run out down the hill and onto the street. You can see the operating levels. High level's 26, so the stop level's 25. We operate between 18 feet and 25 feet. The citizens got to draw the water down to 18 before the pump starts and fills it up to 25. And that's stage 1. Stage 2 starts at 17, which basically means both pumps will run in case the one pump can't keep up. And then you have your low level at 16 if If both pumps can't keep up or neither pump is running, we'll get a phone call at 16 feet, which is not quite, a little over half full, and that's a 100,000 gallon water tower. So we start getting alarms at when we're just a little over half full, so we have time to respond and figure things out. Same with the reservoir. The reservoir operates from 0 to 19 feet to the overflow. So 19 feet means the water's coming over the overflow out onto the street. We have the high level at 17.5, which gives us 1.5 feet to basically get there and shut things down or diagnose the problem. If the large well is running, that's roughly about 30 minutes in time, give or take. If the small well is running, give us an hour or more. So we operate that between 17 and 14 feet, and the low level alarm's at 12 feet. So that'll give us, we're well over 50% in that tank, and that's 425,000 gallons. So we got a lot of time there. This system actually does things that our old system wouldn't do, like it'll automatically alternate pumps back and forth. Things that we would look to do in the future, but we can't do right now because we're limited on the kind of equipment that we have. So it's up and running, and the guys will be getting their training starting on it tomorrow. There's also another system. It's a alarm system. It's a sensophone. It's cloud-based. So if there's an alarm on this screen, it patches over to the sensophone system and then dials us out and lets us know what the alarm is. So essentially it calls the on-call number first, the 672-3743. It'll voice call that and then send my email at City Hall here, send me an email, let me know there was an alarm. So I'll always know. And then if that person doesn't respond, either answer the phone and type in the code to cancel the alarm, or physically log on to the website, cancel the alarm. 5 minutes goes by, it calls the next person, and so on and so forth, right on down the line through the employees. So, and then it'll just keep starting over until somebody acknowledges the system. So, a lot of redundancy built in. And our old system just had common alarms, so you kind of had to go there and see what the alarm is. Now we'll be able to, we had to drive down the sewer plant just to see what the alarm is, and then drive to the site where the problem was to diagnose the problem. Now we'll be able just to basically drive right to the site. And this is all accessible on my laptop, and we have 2 iPads at the sewer plant where we can remotely access it, and we can run it from any site and anywhere in town. So, just kind of a short nutshell brief.
Okay. Any questions?
Just a couple, I should have maybe asked these at Public Works, but so roughly how many gallons do we pump a day, Matt, on average?
So it fluctuates. The average citizens use, so in the wintertime, we probably pump on average about anywhere from 120,000 gallons to 180,000 gallons, 190,000. So every day we fluctuate about 50 to 70,000 gallons. Just, people are different creatures of habits, nights and days. So that's kind of how it works in the wintertime. In the summertime, those averages climb to probably about 180 to 240 based on irrigation.
The other thing I meant to ask you during our Public Works piece too. So obviously, on occasion, we have water main breaks.
Correct.
Usually we discover them because it's bubbling to the surface. But on occasion, we've hired companies to come in and do some electronic, for lack of a better term, I guess.
Correct.
Whether we have a SCADA system or not, this isn't fine-tuned enough that we can really track. That your guys can look at that and say, oh my goodness, I think we might have a leak somewhere.
No, this system just starts and stops pumps.
That's all.
Really, and
And it doesn't give, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much all this does is operate our pumps. I keep forgetting this is touchscreen, so it won't let me get my. So the one thing that this does have is a trend, so we can see, we can monitor the levels based on waves. And if your trends, if your water tower starts going like this, you got a problem because you're losing water, filling it up, losing water, filling it up. So there's a trend screen on here that we can kind of tell, okay, we have a problem somewhere until it starts bubbling to the ground, or we contract leak locators to come in and find it. That's the only ways we can find that is to either A, it bubbles out of the ground, or B, we call somebody to come in and try and find it. So that's all this system can do as far as finding leaks, is we can just monitor this trend to see if the spikes are going up and down really fast. That means we got a water leak. Now this is only gonna trend large water main breaks where we're losing tens of thousands of gallons a minute. So if average Joe Matt Gillis has a pipe burst in his house and my house is flooding, this ain't gonna catch none of that. Because that line's only a 3/4 line capable of flowing maybe 40,000 gallons in a 24-hour period. And in a 24-hour period at the well house, we fluctuate 60 to 80,000 gallons a day, so we can't see those little leaks.
So clearly, our old system wouldn't have caught that, and even the new system is
Yeah, no.
not-
So there's not systems out there that are designed to like this, that are designed to catch water main breaks. Those are designed for us to watch graphs basically, and you gotta take history of the graph and see the trend, and okay, now we're starting to inch closer, but there's a lot of things that go into that. For example, while we were filling the water tower, the first 2 weekends we were only using 130 to 160. The second weekend we were using 190 to 275,000 gallons a day. Well, we're like, okay, we got a problem here. We just jumped almost 100,000 gallons. Well, we went and found out that a local business was using water because it was their time of year where they were doing some major cleaning and stuff, which they do every year. So 4 days went by, right back down to the 130 to 170.
So do the person that's on call then, do they take one of those iPads home with them on the weekends?
They haven't been because there was
No
no reason to, but now, yes, they can take one of those home with them.
Otherwise
We
they-
can actually, haven't decided my policy on this yet, but this can actually be on our cell phones.
Oh,
So I can log on, it's on mine right now,
Mm-hmm.
but I haven't decided the policy that I wanna have, cause I really don't want someone's phone to get into the wrong hands, and now I got kids. I don't want my kids playing on my phone, and the next thing I know, they're changing the levels of the water.
Yeah, we try to avoid that.
Come up with a policy. Yeah, I know we're password protected and things like that, but stuff happens. So, I'm just trying to figure out a policy on how we want to handle that. But
Be good.
We don't like that number, go to a different number. Okay, any questions on this? A couple of things, remember that we are paying for this through ARPA funding. We had $100,000 that we were gonna use of that, and Matt had also reported that we were gonna be probably in the low 90s when everything is said and done.
yes.
So that was, to be able to do that. So, also want to thank Superintendent Gillis when we were doing this by hand for about, a couple of months
It was about 1 month to the date.
that we had to, and being able to move schedules around, so we're able to keep overtime down, especially when you're in the middle of plow season, and to appreciate the efforts to keep those things and be able to keep the water system up and running and meeting all the needs that we needed to
And
do.
I'd like to obviously thank my staff for being flexible too, and coming in at night and going home early, and
And then taking some other time off to keep their hours under control.
So,
Okay, What else do you have for us?
The Highway 10 LED lights have all been installed, and everything's working from the bridge all the way to Durand Street. So if you get out at night, take a peek and see how those work. So those all got installed and finished up yesterday afternoon. Everything is working. The 12th Avenue East construction project for this summer, the bid opening is Friday the 31st at 10 o'clock here at City Hall. So we'll be opening those bids, see where that ends up. And we did a quick triage of potholes Monday morning. So we went around and triaged the biggest and the deepest ones. There's a ton of them out there. Guys did a pretty good job. So keep in mind that trailer needs to be used by lots of different agencies. So this time of the year we kind of go out and fill the deep ones and the bad ones, and then we'll come back and do a better job as time and as spring comes in. So other than that, unless you have, one last thing is the Wisconsin Rural Water Association Conference is April 4th to the 7th. So myself and one of my staff members will be attending that conference for those 3 days. So,
Lacrosse?
yes.
Okay, any questions about public works utilities?
I got one for you, Matt. Is there, or should we pass mirror?
There already is no semi-trucks allowed signs on the street.
It's not stopping them.
You can put 40,000 signs
Well,
on it.
how big are the signs, I guess? Because that road isn't meant to handle that big a truck,
Probably
is
like
it?
18 by 18, right, as you turn the corner, and there's no trucks allowed signs on
Okay.
13th.
Oh, that was my
Yeah,
question.
there's no trucks allowed signs on 13th, there's one on, so 14th was allowed,